I've often asked myself, is it really worth it? Is it really worth it that you follow your sports teams with such incredible passion that when they lose over and over and over again and rip your heart out, throw it against the wall outside, then it falls to the ground, and then the universe stomps on that heart and then picks it up and puts it in a truck, and then brings it to wherever you bring old scorned hearts and then just drop it off. Mm-hmm. Is it worth it for when they finally win?
Yes.
It is. It really is.
We haven't won yet. I'll let you know.
Well, you're a Cowboys fan.
We haven't won in 20-something years. I'm like 5, man.
I've gone through this with every one of my teams over and over and over again. Abby, this has been a storyline on this show for 20 years, how I was a jinx because all my teams just end up losing in the most bizarre ways. And just the last, I think it's cyclical. If you just hang in there at some point or another, your team will win. And let me tell you, because I went to San Diego State and they're playing in the Final Four now. And when I was going to school there, they sucked bad. But I follow them each and every year. They usually make the tournament, then they lose, and then we move on. Now we're in the Final Four. I don't remember anything about the losses.
When it's an unexpected win, it's almost more exciting. Like, I will never forget this season watching the Jags actually get good at the end. Yeah. Like, I remember, I was like, wait, we're going to the playoffs? Oh, wait, we're going to the next game in the playoffs? And all of a sudden, I was a Jags fan, so I don't remember life before that.
And how this comes full circle is her team beat my team after we were up 27-0. The Jags beat the Chargers.
Sure did.
So they beat the Cowboys, too, and you were there.
And they beat the Cowboys.
Oh, you were in Jacksonville. I forgot about that.
I will remember that game for a lot longer than you will. Trust me.
Yeah, I was flying back into the airport, and I saw a lot of disappointed Cowboys fans.
Yeah.
It's the moment I became a Jacksonville Jaguar.
Nothing more disappointed than me. I tell you that much.
I was thinking about you watching San Diego State do their thing to get to the Final Four, and it was... You love to see it.
Yes.
You really do. You love to see it. Not just for you, but for like the fact that this is the first time in school history that they've ever made the Final Four. I love stories like that.
I think 3 of the 4 teams playing in the Final Four, this is the first time that they've ever been in a Final Four, right?
Yep, all other than UConn. First time.
God, it's so worth it. So for those of you that are rooting for Vandy football, there will be a day. Okay, maybe that's a bad analogy.
There's one fan in their car right now like, damn right.
Maybe not Vandy football. But there's somebody else listening that will go through a miserable season and they will win a championship. And it's amazing how when your team wins, it can... I've never met any of these kids, never met the coaching staff, never hung out with any of their parents, never. But somehow, some way, it was personal. And it feels so good.
Felt like the water boy, didn't you?
I was more exhausted after that game than those kids were. All right, so the email here is really kind of a bummer, man. Her husband is extremely uncomfortable, and it has to do with breastfeeding. This one is going to set Cassie off.
I was hoping to get everyone's opinions on how to address a sensitive matter that I'm dealing with currently. Let me preface this by saying I'm a mama myself to my precious 10-month-old, and I nursed as long as I could until my supply just couldn't keep up. I'm all for breastfeeding since the benefits are key and the bond is magical. I'm a pretty private person myself, so when I nursed around anyone other than my husband, I'd excuse myself and go into a different room. Not trying to shame anyone for feeding in public, but here's my issue. My husband recently expressed to me that he's been feeling extremely uncomfortable around his sister when she nurses because she bears it all in front of everyone. He already brought up the issue to his mom, and she more or less sided with his sister, but she said she would deliver the message.
Okay, let's just hear. Grown-ass man went to his mama, so she would tell her daughter, his sister, to stop pulling her boob out in public so she could feed her child.
Bubba! Bubba!
I don't want to see Sissy's boobies no more.
She's doing it again.
Put the boobies away, Bubba!
Well,
Come on.
she's not changed her ways since his conversation with his mom. I'm not sure if that message was delivered and his sister just refuses to take her brother's feelings into consideration, or if his mom didn't feel like bringing it up. My in-laws are supposed to be coming over in a few weeks, and he asked me to talk to her about at least using a cover. I don't have a great relationship with her. It's more surface level than anything. So how do I delicately ask my sister-in-law to cover herself without causing too much of an issue?
You don't.
Any advice would be much appreciated. Love you all.
Hell to the no.
Nope.
No. Stay out of this.
Completely. 100%. You don't do it. That's how you do it.
I don't know. I have a little bit of a different take.
Okay, let's go.
So I have an older brother, and I mean, just for me, like the thought of like pulling my boob out in front of him would make me uncomfortable. So I would maybe take like a backwards approach. Like if you have a good relationship with your sister-in-law, maybe take her to maybe in the kitchen like corner and just be like, hey, in a friendly tone. It's not weird for you to bring out your boob in front of your brother and just see what she says. Like you're not accusing her of anything. You're just saying, isn't it a little weird?
I think this would go over so poorly.
And I too have a brother, and I breastfed, and every person is different and handles breastfeeding, whether you choose to do it, not to do it. Fed is best, bottom line. But if you like to like pull it out in public or not. I'm a more private person. I even have a hard time showing a lot of cleavage. So I wasn't exposing my boob. I had covers, and I wouldn't expose my boob in front of my brother. I wouldn't be comfortable doing that. So if he is uncomfortable seeing his sister's boobs, make a joke about it, right? Like not the fact that. Not a cruel joke about it, because I want to specify here, because obviously what's most important is that when that baby is hungry, that baby gets to eat. But if she is in his home, right? In your home, you do whatever you want. And if you're coming over and boobs are going to be flying, you're going to have to excuse yourself to another room, because this is my home and I'm going to breastfeed my child where I want to breastfeed my child. Mm-hmm. But if I am coming into your home and you're like, take the onus on you. Listen, I know this is natural and it's beautiful, but as your brother, it really creeps me out to see your boob.
What a whiny little baby man-child. First of all, he goes to his mom, and then he goes to his wife because he can't handle an adult conversation himself. I breastfed in a Walmart parking lot with a Santa poncho over me. I have breastfed on a bench. I don't care. If you don't like it, do you know what you can do? Turn your eyes away.
There's that.
Look in the other direction. I don't have a neon sign that says, stare at my boobs, I'm feeding my baby lunch. If you look, you're the weirdo and it's your problem.
Cassie is writing a Dr. Seuss book. I will breastfeed on a bench. I will breastfeed with a wrench.
I will breastfeed on a chair. I will breastfeed anyway.
I have done it in restaurants. Now, granted, I turned it like the chair around to a corner. Yeah. But like, if my baby's hungry, they're going to eat. And if my sibling told me that it weirded them out, I probably would listen, honestly, and I would change my ways just to respect them. But at the same time, they can leave the room.
It's funny, we were in not a similar situation, but we would go over to a friend's house and she was breastfeeding and she had no problem popping a boob out. More power to her. My husband was very uncomfortable because he didn't want to see her boobs. And so she would just yell, incoming boob! And she would pull it out and he would know to turn around and he would mind his, that was a level, he was trying to respect her, right? But in the process, I'm like, you can't come over to somebody's home and tell them, I don't want to see your boob. She's going to feed her child wherever she wants to. So we turned it into a joke, and she would just make a loud announcement that a boob was coming out, and then Bart would just do this, and he'd just turn around.
That's great.
He'd avoid the boob.
That is awesome.
The only person I'm really invested in this whole situation is our listener, right? And because, when it comes to breastfeeding or what have you, that's not even the issue to me. The issue to me is him bringing her into this tension where she should have absolutely no place. If I'm you, step away from the boob. Do not have this conversation at all.
It's not even her sister.
Right.
It's her sister-in-law. She literally has no part being a part of this. He's the one with the issue. He's the one that needs to deal with it.
Well, I'm guessing if he's the kind of person who has an issue at seeing a boob out for that, he probably also feels very awkward about talking about it, especially to your sibling about something that you don't want to see, but he's got to man up.
Grow up, dude.
Hurry up.
Say it again. Do it again.
Bubba! Bubba! Tell sis to put a boob away! I'm trying to eat!
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched? Well, you can get way more of The Bert Show on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.